Hi, everybody. It's me, Tim. Today I want to talk about modding. I get a lot of questions about modding. Do I like mods? Do I play with mods? Will I review mods? So let me start off and say I love mods and I love people mod my games. There's just so much to say about modding. I had to write a list to make sure I covered it all. And by mods, I'm talking about anything from people making new levels or areas to add into games they play, or to people to change a system mechanic or add a system mechanic or modify the UI or change what the skills or abilities do, or even add some or even delete some. I love these things because, first of all, it's very creative. And second, it shows a kind of effort that goes above and beyond just critiquing games. Even if you're just telling your friends, I like this game, I don't like this game. Modding a game goes above and beyond. And yes, we've hired people in the past. Companies I've worked for have hired people who got their start modding. So when I say make a demo, that includes make a mod for a game you like. Yes, I do play mods. I play mods in games I like. I like when there are mods available. But I will say this, the first time I play a game, I like to play it vanilla with no mods. I will play any patches that the companies put out, because I've heard people go, oh no, you have to play the game the way it first came out. I wanted to play it the way the developer intended. Well, the developer probably didn't intend to have all those bugs, and the patches are developer intent. So I would definitely patch a game with the official patches from the developer. I wouldn't add the DLC though. I like to play that first game patched, no DLCs, no mods, just play it. Later on, I'll add mods. And the mods I tend to add to games are ones that add new areas, new quests, and new NPCs. I less often play ones that change the base system mechanics or even remove system mechanics, because I'm like, now you're changing the fundamental foundation of the game. Like, if I'm playing a game, what's a heavily modded game? Skyrim's heavily modded. I tend to lean towards the mods that add a new map, or add new dungeons, or add new NPCs that give you quests for things to go do. And I tend to avoid the one that go, I've redone the entire magic system, or I've changed how archery works. I'm less interested in those. I'm less interested in those as a player. If someone applied for a job and I said, what do you have as previous work? And like, I do lots of mods. Then that's interesting if they can go, I've not only added areas to this game, I've changed the system mechanics because I felt like it needed more of this, or I wanted to balance that. Especially if that's relevant to what they're applying to. If they're a level designer, I want to see some areas you made. If you're a system designer, it would be really cool to see, like, I took Fallout 3 and redid the skills. That would be an interesting thing to see. Also, no, I'm not going to review the mods I use. I don't think that's not what I'm here for, and it's not what I want to do. And also, a mod I love or hate may not be a mod you love or hate, so it's not relevant to me. So that's why I don't do it. Now, I've encouraged modding in all my games. In games I had a lot of control over, like Arcanum, we made sure that we could ship the tools for it. WorldEd, the sector and map editor, and SockMonkey, the scripting engine and script system, script editor, we shipped those with Arcanum. And the reason we wanted to do that was we wanted people to make mods, and we convinced the publisher to allow us to do that because since they wanted multiplayer, we were like, well, multiplayer people are going to want new maps. They're going to want to make maps. So we got that put in ostensibly to support multiplayer, but it was pretty easy to make single player ones too. So I love seeing my games modded. It's fun to see. While it's interesting to read reviews or game forums and have people go, I wish they'd done this, and I would like it better if they did this, and I didn't like this part. When someone mods a game, that gets like additional respect from me. And the reason is, first of all, it did mean they liked the game at least well enough that they thought some changes would make it better, or they liked it and wanted more of it, especially if they had more areas. It's usually, I like it, I want more of it. But it also means they worked hard enough to learn how to mod it and then make those mods. There's a huge difference between somebody saying, I wish the skills worked this way, and a modder going, I made the skills work this way. One is, that's an interesting opinion. Some people agree, some people disagree. The other one is, let me take a look. Because rather than argue over whether it's a better skill system, I can play it and see how it actually works and see how it interacts with the perks and leveling and other skills. So I really respect modders for the fact that they actually did something. It's far harder to do something than to say something. And the internet's full of people who say things. I prefer doing. That's why I always say I pay a lot more attention to what people do than what they say. People have said all kinds of things to me. I usually pay attention to their actions. Now, I can't always prioritize making it easy to mod my games. As I mentioned with Arcanum, I had to convince the publisher. I'm not sure how much convincing it took. When I mentioned that I was putting them in the build, because we make the build, I said it was to support multiplayer, which is what they wanted. Can't always do that. We've often had publishers who pushed back when we were saying, oh, one of the things we're doing here is we're exposing these functions to scripts so that they can be modded. If we ever said that, they usually go, look, we're not paying you to make this game easy to mod. We're trying to pay you to finish this game. Especially because you always come down at the end to you're running out of time. And especially in this era where if you're not going to crunch, that means you're going to delete stuff. You're going to delete skills. You're going to delete content. You're going to delete quests. You're going to delete NPCs. In the time period where you're deleting stuff in order to make your schedule, you can't prioritize adding in new stuff like, hey, let's expose stuff to modders. So, and we can't always ship tools. And that comes with a variety of reasons. Part of it is sometimes the tools that you use are proprietary. Like if we buy a third-party tool to do lip syncing, we can't provide that tool with the game. We had to buy it, and often now there's subscription, so we had to pay yearly to use it. So we can include it, but the game requires those lip sync files in order to have a person do their VO. So it makes it hard for the modder to make new dialogue. Similarly, you may make a tool that, because teams are bigger now, some tools require networked resources. That the best example I can think of this is at Obsidian we use a string tool, and that string tool basically keeps text and keeps it in a big database for the game, keeps track of, how many things are referencing it, because sometimes you write one line of text, it'll get referenced in multiple places, keeps track of what languages it's going to be translated into, what languages it has been translated into. And since different people use the string table for different reasons, it's kept separate from the game, and it's kept in a network location, so it's not on any one person's computer. Well, it's hard to ship a tool like that, because not only is it proprietary to the company, but it's the company's tool, so maybe they could decide to release it. But that would require you to have set up a network and do all this back-end work just to let the tool work at home for you. Now, yeah, you could say, well, can't you make a version that's not networked? It's not why we're doing it. And again, it's hard to justify that time when other people need tools on other games, and those games are being funded by publishers. So that's why you sometimes see games that ship in a not easy to mod format. Some people would like to ascribe to those developers don't want their games modded. I think a better way of viewing it is modding was not prioritized, either by the developer or the publisher, whoever held the purse strings. But I will tell you that a lot of games are now made on common engines. Unity, Unreal, Godot. So all those engines use a very similar data format. So once you learn one, and that's one of the reasons game engines get popular, once you learn one, you have the ability to make mods, not all mods, but certain mods, for all games made in that format. So that's another reason why you might want to pick up Unity and Unreal. If you don't want to make your own game, maybe you want to mod a game you like. Now, I still like it when games ship with tools specifically to mod their games, but push comes to shove, learn a game engine and mod with that. So, to sum up, because so many people have asked, yes, I like mods. Yes, I play with mods. Yes, I love when people mod my games. Yes, some of my games aren't as easy to mod as others. But a lot of people have asked these questions, so I hope I answered them all. And now you know what I think about modding.